Hello, hello, happy Monday, and welcome to Making Waves with Moanna Adams. I'm your host, Moanna, a teenage girl with a lot to say and a lot more to learn. Welcome to episode 56. I keep, every time I record a 50s episode, it blows my mind that we're in the 50s. I started this podcast over a year and a half ago, and it just still blows my mind, how far it's actually gone, and the fact that I've lasted this long, honestly. Because before starting a podcast, you read all these statistics about podcasts failing after the first 20 episodes, and we're still here at 56. And I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. I have the rest of the year's worth of episodes already planned of what it's going to be. I'm still writing outlines and getting interviews lined up, but I'm really, really excited for the next few months before our 2-year anniversary. But welcome to episode 56. We're on 56 right now, so let's focus on that. Today we are talking about how you can change your life just by shifting your mindset and your perspective. But before we get into that, I also want to say that it's been 2 weeks since I've done an episode, 2-3 weeks, and that's because a lot has changed for me in the last few weeks, and that's one of the reasons I want to talk about this, because I feel like my mindset and perspective and the way it's shifted has also changed my life, and I really want to talk about all of that. First, current obsession. If you're new, we do current obsession at the start of every episode, and it's just something about or in my life that I'm currently loving. It could be a show, a book, product, habit, whatever it is. And this week, that is red everything. Now, listening to this podcast, you can probably tell that my color is red. All of my podcast branding is red, and I've really, really been leaning into that the past few months for my personal brand and everything. And I just love the color red. I was reading about it the other day, and it's one of the only colors that has such a conflicting meaning behind it. You know, people see red as love, but also anger and power, and it just has so many different things and emotions that it brings up. And I don't know, I grew up in elementary school hating red, and then high school came around and I fell in love with it. I recently redid my vision board for the second half of 2024, and I kept the red theme. I just redid my phone case, because I have a clear phone case that I put stickers and things like that in, and I did it red and white and black, and majority of my closet is red, and so I'm loving embracing my personal branding, and red, just everything is red right now. And then my high tide, and this is also something we do every week, and this is a book, podcast, YouTuber, creator, TED Talk, habit, something motivational and self-help that you can go to right now for motivation or inspiration. And this week, it's Emily McDonald, or at M on the Brain on Instagram. She does psychology content, and she does a lot of educational content around psychology, and I just really love her account. It's a great place to learn about your brain and psychology and the reasons you do things, and I think it's a really great resource, so definitely check her out. Her link will be in the episode notes. But let's get into the episode. So to start off, the big changes that have happened recently, and kind of what prompted this episode, because I've been wanting to do a perspective shift episode for months now, and I didn't really find a base to start off with, because writing outlines can be a real challenge for me. I have a hard time getting my thoughts onto legible paper and writing. And I recently competed at Miss Georgia Teen USA, which, if you don't know, it's one of the Miss Universe, Miss USA organization is one of the biggest pageant organizations in the world, and I competed at the state level. It was the first pageant I'd ever done, and I didn't go in with the goal of winning, like pretty much every other girl there. I went in with the goal of experiencing something new and meeting new people. And we got to hear Coach Dale Smith Thomas the first night of the pageant, and it was really amazing to get to hear her story, and she was one of the best storytellers I've ever heard. And I think that her talk and the things that she spoke about were really, really personal to me, and just really aligned with my goals and my beliefs. And there's one thing that she said that I keep going back to, and I really, really love, and she was talking about shifting your vocabulary. And one of the examples she gave was that you're not overwhelmed, you're in demand. And I really, really liked this, because I feel overwhelmed all the time. I have so many goals and ambitions and things that I'm working towards, And sometimes it's a lot. It's too much. It feels like it's too much, and I feel like I don't have enough time or energy to get everything done. And so just remembering that, there's no such thing as being overwhelmed. Like, obviously we feel overwhelmed all the time, but if you shift that to you're in demand, people just need and want your energy and your attention, and your goals want and need your energy and attention. I think that's a really, really great shift. And like I said, I've been wanting to do an episode on this recently, and this definitely gave me a baseline to write this outline, is just that shift of this negative to this positive. And so that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Some other big changes that have happened, we're going to talk about in a second, because I do feel like my life has changed and improved so much over the last few months. And it's not that it was bad before, but I was definitely feeling kind of meh and burnt out in a rut. And now I've transitioned to I feel so joyful. I'm so much more joyful. I'm so much more of a happier person. And of course everybody has their days and it's an ups and downs, but I'm getting those good, joyful, happy days more often than the bleh, negative, meh ones. And I think that's really that's been the biggest change for me, because I was really getting those depressed, droopy kind of days where, I don't know what to do with my time, or, you're scrolling, you get stuck scrolling, you're not eating right, all of these things that are terrible habits. And now I feel so much happier and higher energy all the time. And I didn't really change the way I've been eating, and of course I can always eat better, or, I haven't really changed the amount of water that I'm drinking. I'm still struggling with that. There are still these healthy habits that are pretty basic that I know can improve even more, but I'm not feeling negative because I'm not getting those things done. I know that I'm working on them, and that I'm getting to a point where, one day soon, in a couple months, those are going to be habits that I have, not ones that I wish I had or that I'm working towards. They're going to be ones that I have. But right now I don't, and I'm still having these really great days and feeling much happier and healthier. I have gotten the chance recently at Mr. Teen USA to connect with so many amazing teenage girls that I think just really, really I connected with, and it felt like they understood me and I understood them so much more. They're also ambitious and have so many goals, not just for themselves, but for their friends and their families and their communities and just the world overall. They want to make changes, and, I really connected with that. And then we also recently moved, and we're in this new house that is fresh and clean and new and fits our family so well, and I think is going to be a really great space to be productive. And I also recently signed with my first modeling agency, which I'm going to post about on Instagram and talk about more over there. So if you're interested in that, you can go to my personal Instagram at @moannaadams. But the biggest shift is, other than, of course, the joyful days and the more often feeling happier days, is I went from feeling like I was losing my confidence that I had spent the last few years gaining to now being more confident than ever. I felt like for a lot of early spring, late winter that I didn't know what I was doing wrong, but I was losing so much self-confidence that I had grown over the last few years, starting this podcast and traveling and doing homeschool. I had gained so much confidence and was so much more confident than I was in middle school. And then, at the start of the year, I felt like I was losing that until just a couple months ago. And now I'm feeling more confident than ever. The reason is my mindset and perspective shift, because mindset and the way you live and view life is everything. You have the power to change your whole life just by shifting your perspective. And to do that, you have to focus on abundance. And that's what I've been doing. I've been focusing on abundance and gratitude. And I think that when you start focusing on those things, you realize how much abundance there is for you. No matter who you are or where you are, you're surrounded by so much, and there's plenty for everyone, is definitely the mindset that you have to have. I just have felt everything is more abundant, and I think you just have to look in the right places. Over April, what really prompted this kind of realizing how much abundance was around me. And it's something that I wanted to focus on, was an abundance mindset. I use this journal prompt, and I may have mentioned it in the past, but every single month I have my journaling routine. I want to do an episode on later in the year, but I do 3 things I'm grateful for, 4 I am affirmations, and then every month I have a different little short prompt before I do like the rest of my journaling. And so like in January I wrote 1 goal, in March I wrote 1 thing that worked out for me that was like lucky or something of that nature, to kind of get in tune with the universe working with me. And in April I did something that was abundant in my life. So maybe it was supportive friends or family. Maybe it was money. Maybe I made money that day, or opportunities. Maybe it was fresh fruits for me in the morning, or healthy foods, whatever it may be. It could be something as simple as like there's an abundance of sunshine and good weather for you. Whatever it may be, you can find abundance somewhere in your life. So every day I wrote 1 thing that was abundant and that I was surrounded by and had in abundance. And that was like a huge shift for me, was just focusing on that and looking for that throughout the day. And a lot of days, I didn't just have 1 thing to write down. I had 3 or 4 things that were really abundant because I was looking for them. A very similar thing in March with the luck is just looking for those little things that are working out in your favor. I know that the universe is working in my favor, and what is right for me is attracted to me, and what's not right for me leaves me. And for you, it might not be the universe, it might be God, or whatever your belief system and your spiritual focus is. Things are working out for you when you focus on abundance. Things work out for you when they're supposed to, and when they're not, they're there to teach you lessons. And so really, really focusing and putting energy towards looking for those positives and those abundances, instead of looking for what's missing and what I need more of or what I don't have enough of, has been a huge shift. And then another thing is just taking things less seriously. I feel like Gen Z, there's been this trend going around a lot of people talking about how unserious Gen Z is, and, we don't take things seriously. And I personally think that can be a really good thing. We know when to take things seriously. I think most of us understand, political, economic, worldly disasters we take pretty seriously. But day-to-day life, I think we are all getting better at taking things lightly and not taking ourselves so seriously. When I was at the pageant a couple weeks ago, I knew that I wasn't there to win. And it was brand new to me. I had no coach. I had done no mock interviews. I had no clue what I was doing pageant-wise. I just knew that I was there to meet the other girls, connect with them, and experience what a pageant is like for the first time. And so I was there dancing in the wings, hanging out, laughing with everyone. I did not take things seriously. And it's not that I didn't take the pageant or the organization seriously, just I didn't take myself seriously. And I let myself be happy and joyful. Or, maybe for you it could be school, it could be, family. When I'm at home, I try to, if my siblings do something that upsets me, or my parents, or something like that, I don't take it too seriously either, because it's really, the best way to say it is, it's not that deep. It's not that deep, guys, I don't say that straight to my family. I mean it for me personally, because you can't control how anybody else takes anything. But let me give you a good example, because I don't know if I'm doing the best job explaining this. Let's say your sibling messes up something of yours, breaks something, whatever. Let's say my brother rips one of my shirts. I'm probably going to be real mad and get really upset, whatever. Because for me, my clothes are very, very specific. I work really, really hard to build a wardrobe that I'm proud of and comfortable in. And so I get very attached to pieces. And at first I may be really upset, but then I take a step back and be like, hey, it's just a shirt. There are hundreds and hundreds of other shirts. We don't need this one specific one. It's okay. It's really not that deep. You can get, there's an abundance of money. There's an abundance of time. You can get a new one at some point. It's really not that deep. And just detaching yourself from that. And I think detachment has also been a huge game changer for me, because I used to get attached to everything. And when I didn't reach it or receive it, it would be devastating. I'd get attached to the idea of going somewhere or doing something or physical things or goals. And I would get so attached. I would be thinking that I'm manifesting. I would, imagine myself doing this thing. And while visualization is so good, it can get to be too much and can totally destroy your emotional state when you don't actually get it, because you've spent all this time, visualizing yourself with this thing, and you've grown attached to yourself having this thing. You think that you are entitled, really. You think that you are going to get it, and then you don't. And, for me, things like that were really, really devastating. And I think that shifting and understanding that, what is coming to me and what I'm going to receive is right for me, and what isn't. And that's okay. We're not going to get everything we want, and we're not going to reach every single one of our goals, because some of them just aren't right for us. It might not be the right time, it might not be the right thing, whatever it is, we don't know. We just have to understand that things are always working out for us. Things are constantly flowing to us that are supposed to, and the things that aren't are leaving, and we might not know what the reason is. But we know that, and we have to trust that it will work out in the long run. Because everything will work out in your favor. Everything will work out. It'll be okay. But it might not be right now. You might not receive the things that you're hoping for or expecting for yourself now. But in the future, then those things will come. Maybe you need to learn these lessons now. And just looking at things in a different way. And understanding that we are not entitled to those things. We have to understand that we can do our absolute best and work as hard as we can. And if it's meant for us, it will work out and things will happen. And that doesn't mean that you just get to sit there and wait for them. You still have to work for things, because people who are working for them and, having this abundance mindset, those are the people who are going to receive the things that they are working towards. Back to detachment, my dad says, this is something that he says, and not quite a direct quote, but kind of this is the idea, is that expectations are the source of all pain. And while yes, I do agree to some extent, it's very an MJ Spider-Man kind of expect disappointment and never be disappointed. And that might work for some people, but I think it can, for a lot of people, become a really negative way to look at things. And so I just prefer to emotionally detach. I go for things, I go for opportunities, I go for goals, but I do my best. And I know that if it's meant to be, it will work out. If I put my absolute all into it and I still don't reach it, I learn from it and I move on. I don't attach myself and get emotionally attached to those kinds of things, because, of course I would love for it to work out, but it might not, and that's okay. Because other opportunities will come, other goals, other activities, whatever it may be. I just have to trust that it's working out in the long run. So let's talk about what can we do, how do we shift our mindset. I have 4 exercises, homework things. And number 1, like we talked about earlier, shifting our vocabulary. I'm overwhelmed to I'm in demand. I'm nervous to I'm excited is another one that I've heard a ton of. I made a mistake. What can I do better? I think a great thing to do is whenever you catch yourself using these negative terms or feeling these negative things and you're talking to yourself about them, write them down and then think of a shift that you can shift those words and make them into a more positive light and say them that in a more positive, abundant way. I made a mistake to what can I do better? What can I do next time? Right? So try to do that with your own personal vocabulary, because we all have different things that we say to ourselves that are specific and unique to us. Number 2, journaling. Like I said earlier, abundance, writing something that's abundant. Also gratitude, writing things that you're grateful for. Be grateful for, not just other people, but for yourself and your hard work and your body. I talked about this last episode, but For May, I thanked my body every single day for something it allowed me to do. You know, my body is capable of hugging my siblings or petting my dogs or eating an orange or getting ice cream or laughing with my friends. And so just thanking your body for that, appreciating yourself and your hard work and expressing gratitude toward yourself, because yourself is what you have with you every single day, 24/7. You can't escape it. So, you know, appreciating yourself and the things that it does for you and the things it allows you to do. Number 3 is to befriend / speak to / connect with people that are different than you. I think it's easy to, talk to people who are similar to us. Like I said earlier, I met all these amazing girls at Miss Georgia Teen USA, and it was incredible and I love it. But sometimes we also need to talk to people who are completely opposite of us. You know, it could be someone who's 30 years older than you or 30 years younger than you, or from another country or speaks another language, and talk to them about their life, what it was like for them to grow up, or whatever it may be. I think is a huge perspective shifter. I really like talking to young kids. I don't like kids very much, but talking to young kids is a really, really good one, especially I think for teenagers, and just like reminding you of that inner child and the things that you used to do when you were little and the things you didn't know. And then number 4 is something that I say 24/7, and you're probably tired of hearing, but trying something new. Life is for experiencing things, and I want to experience as many things as I can. So anytime I get the chance to try something new, I do my best to go for it, because you never know what you might fall in love with doing or trying. So try something new. And thank you so much for listening. If you love this podcast and you want to show your support, please leave a rate and review. Reviews are so, so helpful for the growth of the podcast, and lets me know what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Be sure to follow me on social media at @moannaadams or at makingwaves.ma. I'm doing a Making the Most of My Last Summer as a Kid series on my personal account, so definitely go there. Also, follow this show so you never miss another episode. Don't forget to drink your water, and I will talk to you later.